Hello and welcome to Liberated Living. My name is Camille, and in this episode, we explore anchoring a new identity. It's a strategy for transforming old patterns. We explore the tips to shift old identity patterns, begin anchoring an ideal identity or embodying a new persona by removing unconscious patterns that are no longer aligning to our ideal life or vision that is desired. So if we want to begin to shape a better reality and future, be it more wealth, better health, relationships, career, education, or more, then we may find unconscious behavior patterns that are conflicting with this ideal vision. So once we can bring awareness or become meta-conscious to these old patterns and utilize these steps, then we can begin to align to our higher vision and one that resonates with our present ideals. When we experience triggers from old reactive responses and difficulties, it surfaces our habitual unconscious patterns as an opportunity to overcome them in an organic moment to shift and learn new, healthy coping capacities, also known as adaptive coping responses, to modify our behaviors into a long-term correction. This strategy keeps our prefrontal cortex functioning well and out of confusion and into clarity. The neuroscience of recognizing opportunities to shift patterns to create options by reframing our experiences, we have an opportunity to employ a naming strategy, which helps us to break up preconditioned pattern responses to create new opportunities of choosing a different response. This is essential to creating new awareness and transforming those undesirable behaviors. So we will first use the naming strategy, which is a powerful tool for recognizing and reshaping our habitual unconscious responses. When we're triggered by old patterns, it is an opportunity to bring these automatic reactions into the conscious awareness, allowing us to shift our behavior in real time and develop healthier coping mechanisms. By engaging this strategy, we can keep our prefrontal cortex, which is the center for decision-making and clarity, functioning optimally, moving us from the confusion and into intentional action. Understanding the neuroscience behind this process is key. By reframing each moment as an opportunity to notice and name our reactions, we disrupt the automatic or unconscious responses and open the door to new, more adaptive choices. This practice is essential for cultivating self-awareness and creating those new neural pathways that support long-term behavioral change. And of course, one that may be the gap to us aligning to the ideal life that we're wanting to. So next time you encounter a trigger or fall into an old negative pattern, simply pause and notice it, then name it. Now, we only name it not to have any labels, but again, just to help us to change the pattern because it's bringing it into the prefrontal cortex to process it and then therefore transform it. And this can be done as simply as asking yourself, what name can I give to this pattern that I want to change? We can ask ourselves a series of questions that also might help us to, again, begin to process every pattern that we want to change, such as, is my current behavior benefiting myself and others? Is it effective or ineffective? Is it efficient or costly? And how does this behavior make me feel about myself? So experiment with this strategy, and the next time you feel any distress, use it to integrate the prefrontal cortex or higher conscious mind, which is the state where you can access both emotional and rational thinking, which encompasses the total mindfulness. By encompassing both hemispheres of the brain, we're not going to be single-minded, but yet we're going to be bringing in total mindfulness. So you will notice an old pattern emerging. And when you do, you ask those questions. What am I thinking and feeling right now? And how can I shift my perspective of this event? So by regularly practicing this technique, you will begin to rewire your brain, creating new neural pathways and even influencing your DNA, which also affects our behavior or influences behavior. So imagine how this new awareness can help you navigate future challenges. Consider this. What new skills would you like to embody? Maybe it's more confidence. Maybe it's more leadership, activating more courage. So how can you create a new internal narrative that supports your growth? For example, I no longer resist wealth or have a negative association with money, but instead I allow myself to receive it with more ease and increase. So experiment when you experience distress and practice integrating those exercises. Notice shifts of events and thoughts about yourself. Practice inhabiting the higher mind to more open and flexible shifts. Set the intention to develop a new habit of perceiving life events, stressors, and responsiveness differently by creating new choices or responding more resiliently and differently. The more difficult the event, the more the opportunity of letting them transform you. Mindful skills transform the prefrontal cortex on the spot and improves its functions of self-awareness, which is essential to creating new options and opportunities. So what new skill would you like to embody? Focus on your intention, which helps to also create the new neuropeptides, i.e. thoughts and emotions. So to rewire the old programming and code new behavior, imagine an example of practicing this skill and new awareness in a future event. How do you feel? You can monitor and modify when you notice unwanted behavior to change new behavior, and you can harness neuroplasticity by shifting gears and recalibrating responses quickly. Use examples of deconditioning, new conditioning, and reconditioning old patterns, beliefs, and awareness. For example, the deconditioning could be an old belief, i.e. lack. A new conditioning could be affirming abundance or wealth, and beginning to envision any area in your life where you may already feel abundant or wealthy, and particularly in the area where maybe you're wanting to experience some shifts. Where can there be new opportunities, or where have you maybe seen other experiences where you actually have received what you wanted? This helps to reinforce the new belief patterns using a similar experience, but with also new beliefs, or maybe even taking new inspired action. To interrupt negative thoughts and validate the power of positive thoughts, it activates new circuits in our brain and shifts our perception. The practice of refocusing our attention by shifting and reframing our experience, maybe into how can I change this, and I am confident. For instance, we can strengthen our brain's responses, or I choose to be confident. So create a new affirmation around an old pattern. You will likely perceive it differently, and it will help you to transform it. For instance, gratitude is an excellent mind shift. So here's an exercise to shift the perspective and recondition the negative thoughts. 1, identify one habitual negative thought you would like to replace. 2, brainstorm several alternative thoughts to counter your negative thought. It may be directly an alternative thought. I invest my finances wisely, or I am financially savvy versus I'm running out of money. Or another example might be I'm lazy, countered with I feel motivated and excited for new opportunities. So this can interrupt the self-deprivation, setting the brain into new direction and recalibration, which reconditions the brain for that resilience and a new response flexibility, no longer ruminating on the deep groove of old neural pathways and then shaking the brain loose of those old patterns. So it's through the repetition and perseverance that the brain learns new thought skills, creating a new normal, which is key to shifting the perspectives, perceptions, and feeling healthier. When we actually begin to normalize this new reality, when we begin to allow it to feel like it is an everyday part of our life, that is when we're going to bring it into more of our material and physical reality. So like new experiences and a bigger picture to create nuances and enhancing the senses and neural sensations. The quantum shifts can change effectively and rapidly with the shift of perspectives. So again, when we change our questions, or if we change the narrative, we will therefore change the perspective, and then the outcome will also change. So because we've heard so many of these adages before, we all know it's about perception. So the more you practice identifying these unwanted patterns and naming it, the more you harness your brain's neuroplasticity. Shift gears when you can catch yourself falling into old patterns, and use strategies like cognitive behavioral therapy to create affirmations that counter negative thoughts and reinforce positive neural circuits. Through repetition, your brain learns new thought patterns, creating a new normal. So experiment with exercises that will shift your perspective, like focusing on a small patch on the ground, outdoors, or noticing details around you. The simple practice can engage different brain circuits, allowing new insights and perspectives to emerge. Now we're going to use a quick exercise to help anchor the new identity. So take a moment to imagine both old and new self, old beliefs, and newly imagined identity simultaneously and alternately. So you want to take the old pattern, and then you want to take the new pattern, and just alternate with those ideas in imagining. So imagining new ideas with this new identity and action that you would take in this new identity. Imagine new emotions, sensations, feelings, and lifestyle, and let yourself feel this new identity. What are your strengths, innate and new, that you bring into your new identity and your ideal life? And what new opportunities are you ready for? Be it socially, educationally, physically, financially, personally, or professionally. Anchor this new identity by, again, mindfully alternating between the old and the new identity several times. You can begin to rest your awareness solely in the awareness of just the new identity. And as you continue to entertain your new identity and this new vision, after a few moments of anchoring your new awareness, as you feel the embodiment of your new identity, revoke the old identity once more and notice if that network lights up as strongly as it did before. The idea is to light up the new vision and to no longer bring as much energy to the old pattern by creating those new neural circuits. And what belief or feeling may have surfaced for you? The old identity will begin to eventually fade, the old identity patterns, empowering us to recondition our new identity patterns again and again. So like a construct that can be learned and unlearned, it can be encoded to reinforce over time to rewire the old. And this will also let go of the power that we once had to our old behaviors, retiring and shedding the old identity. This will dismantle the old encoding that lives in old patterns, which are the neural pathways, as we are practicing the new self identity and new neural pathways. This helps us with new coping strategies and the new higher mind or wiser identity. So stronger sense of self adds new experiences as well as those new landscapes of the new self identity, environments, and constructs. Use this meditation exercise anytime you wish to anchor and quickly advance to the next best version of your new identity. And do the best you can to continue to meditate and reinforce this vision. And anything that came up for you, if there's a particular word that you want to now name this new pattern or new identity, and continue to use it as your mantra. Every choice has an impact. Aligning your actions with your moral compass and core values will enhance your sense of self-worth and guide you toward a life of integrity and resilience. So ask yourself where you're open to new learning, where you feel resistance, and where you might be blocking yourself with that resistance. Create a new narrative that empowers you to move forward with optimism and courage. Let your new identity, self, and new patterns guide your choices as you continue on this journey of the self-discovery and moving forward on that trajectory. So that's it for today's episode. Remember that the power to shift your perspective and rewire your brain lies within your ability to name the old patterns and reinforce those new patterns. So keep practicing, and soon you'll find yourself navigating life with greater clarity, confidence, and the ideal vision for yourself. And if you'd like more information, you can always visit our online holistic psychology and naturopathic school with fully accredited certification programs. And that's all. Thanks for tuning in.